Now, for more on this ruling, we're joined by Democratic Representative Stephen Horsford of Nevada. He is the chair of the Congressional Black Caucus.
Congressman, just give us your initial thoughts on this ruling and what our senior White House correspondent just said, that this still leaves open the avenue for universities to consider a student's demographic in their totality as part of their experience, despite this decision.
Well, first, let me say I truly condemn the decision by the majority conservative members of the U.S. Supreme Court. They have rolled back 45 years of precedent in taking race-conscious preference into consideration as one of many factors in accepting a student for admission. I support the dissent by Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson and Sonia Sotomayor. I believe that we have to win in these upcoming elections to make their minority dissent the majority opinion in the future. We need to look at reforms to the Supreme Court because the legitimacy of this court has been called into question. The very fact that several of the justices were appointed, despite the fact that President Obama was not offered his nominee, Mitch McConnell and Donald Trump did everything they could to stack this court. And since that time, they have rolled back rights, now on affirmative action, previously for women, and we're continuing to be concerned about voting rights and student loan forgiveness as well. But this decision, make no mistake about it, is going to make it harder for Black students and students of color to be considered for admission in public and private institutions. And my question to the court is, why did they exempt military academies in their decision today? Why is it okay to use race for military academies, but not to do so for public universities and private universities?
Congressman, I want to follow up on your point about wanting to pursue reforms to this court. One of the things that the president was asked about in his press conference was about whether he considered this a rogue court. And Errol and I were discussing that very pregnant pause that the president had and then answered not fully in agreement, but not fully in disagreement either. When you're talking about trying to pursue reforms, what is the Congressional Black Caucus intending to do? Are you talking about adding members to the Supreme Court? Is that something that's going to come back into the agenda?
Well, I believe the Congressional Black Caucus believes that we need to create equity and opportunity for everyone. We believe that if we're going to repeal affirmative action based on race, then we should repeal affirmative action based on legacy programs and privilege. We should review the ability to make admissions based on other criteria. Why are they singling out race, even though we know the history and the stain of race in America?
All very slavery. Important points, Congressman. But in particular, I just wanted to ask you for clarification more about what you had said about reforms to the court, what Congress intends to do when it comes to reforms to the Supreme Court.
Well, first and foremost, it's the very legitimacy of several of the justices who don't even deserve to be on the court today. And we believe that Senate Majority Leader Schumer and the Senate should absolutely take up measures to look at reform and accountability of the Supreme Court. Why? Because the fundamental decisions that they are making affect the constituents that we represent, the very existence and our ability to receive an education. Let's talk about why there is inequity in education to begin with. The fact that we have underfunded schools, lack of certified teachers, funding that's based on property tax models that we know are inequitable. This is why there's inherent inequities, and it's endorsed by federal law and institutions. And the Congressional Black Caucus will work hard to make reforms in every area possible.
And Congressman, the expectation is that this will have a chilling effect for many of the high school students and the teenagers out there right now who are considering options for their future. What do you say to, young people of color who see this decision and now may not apply to their favorite or most prestigious colleges and universities because despite having the grades and the experience, maybe they don't have the money or the family support to get there? What do you say to young people who see this decision and think that that college may not be for them?
Well, I want to be absolutely clear to young people. This decision does not in any way affect your ability to apply and to pursue your purpose in receiving the quality education that you are entitled. And as members of Congress, as the Congressional Black Caucus, working with colleagues in the Congressional Hispanic and Asian Caucus, we will do everything we can to ensure that you have equal access and consideration. We will work with public universities and private institutions, particularly HBCUs, to make sure those opportunities for education are available to you. We know that this law, affirmative action, has always been the floor. It is not the ceiling, and your excellence, your academic excellence, will not be determined by this ill-conceived Supreme Court decision. We will do everything we can to make sure that your right for a free and equitable education continues to be made available.
All right, and we're just showing some of our recent CBS News polling on this issue. Congressman Stephen Horsford, the chair of the Congressional Black Caucus, we appreciate you joining us today on this major news development. Thank you.